Early one morning in May, I led the Penmark team in a discussion about making a connection through service. As always, the team members were very interactive, and afterwards, several of them came up and told me how much these group discussions remind them of how they can be at their best every day with everyone they come in contact with. Later that morning, I left for a meeting, and when I returned and stepped off the elevator, I felt like I had just stepped into a scene of ER.
An elderly lady was leaving our office after an appointment, and on the way to the elevator, her leg gave out from under her and she fell and busted her head open, and she was bleeding badly.
The patient's granddaughter came back into the office and told our front desk clerk that her grandmother had fallen in the hallway and had injured herself. Well, someone paged 911, and all of the nurses, including the doctor that treated the patient earlier, jumped up from their lunch and ran to the hallway to treat the patient.
While several of our team members focused on caring for the patients, one of our associates stood to the side to comfort the patient's granddaughter, who was crying and very upset.
Our front desk receptionist went out to the hallway and stood waiting for our patients to get off the elevator, the other ones that would be arriving, because she was afraid that they'd be alarmed by the scene that was there right in front of the elevators. She thought ahead and made the connection even before they got there.
So after applying a lot of pressure and using a lot of gauze, we got the bleeding controlled. We had the situation well in hand by the time the paramedics arrived. The patient was transported to Methodist Germantown Emergency Room, where she was evaluated. She got stitches and went home and has had an uneventful recovery.
While we followed up with the patient soon after to see how she was doing, thankfully she recovered well. We would have treated the patient the same, but having that meeting made us more aware of what making a connection means.
After the day's event, there was a stronger value associated with what the power of one means to our associates. They knew that they had really stepped forward and they had made a connection that day to the patient, the family, and even to the other patients as they stepped off the elevator for their appointment that morning. I was so proud of Penmark's team as I stepped off the elevator, because right there before my eyes, I saw them making a connection.
In addition, this whole experience re-emphasized the meaning of the power of one. Everyone worked together doing their own individual parts so that the entire outcome was good for everyone.
Well, everyone that comes into our office is going through something. They're sick or they're not feeling well. So for that, making a connection to me would mean to identify with the patient's needs and understand their needs and address that in a compassionate way and show them that you really care, that you really care about them as a patient.
What making a connection means to me is listening and being attentive to the patient's needs and cares and concerns, and knowing that I have made a difference in the end.
Making a connection to me means treating the patients like family. Just a smile or a touch can sometimes make a patient's day.
Making a connection to me means always putting the patient first, thinking of their needs first. So when I go in, I always have this energy that I take in there with me, and I smile and I shine.
Making a connection to me means listening to patients, and not just listening to what they say, but going on beyond that, because they're not just fine when they say fine. There's a lot of other things going on, so you have to listen beyond what they say.